Have you activated the Kundalini energy within? Have you let the cat out of the bag? Released the genie from the bottle? Have you lost everything? Has your world come crashing down? Have you lost inspiration? Have you lost friends? Have you lost a home? Money? Abundance? Yeah, has your world come crashing down? If so, I created this video to offer hope and inspiration for you, and to give maybe some insight as to why these things happen to anyone undergoing or involved in the process of Kundalini awakening. Where do I start? Very early on my journey and my journey within, and when the Kundalini awakened within, I went into a victim. I went into a victim mentality. Why is this happening to me? I felt as though I was cursed. Right? Here I was. I prayed to the universe. I made a prayer and I asked for salvation. I asked for enlightenment. I was done with this life, and this energy came in, answered my prayer. I felt bliss for months early on, and not long after that, bliss bubble burst, and my world came crashing down. And with that crashing down came loss of a home, um, having feeling to be on my own, being out in the world again alone, loss of friends, loss of connections, relationships, and some for good reason. Well, actually, everything for good reason. Now that I think about it, now I feel like Kundalini, this energy, Holy Spirit, Shakti, whichever way you want to refer to it, this intelligence within, I feel like it strips us away from everything we ever knew, because I feel like our foundations, okay, wherever we placed our foundations, or where we our foundations being like a sense of home or ease or comfort, where we placed our sense of worth, identity, safety, all those things, be it bricks and mortar, be it money, be it people, or the external things. I feel like Shakti, Kundalini, this process strips it all away, because the only one true anchor or feeling of safety comes from source, comes from God, comes from consciousness, comes from the lower three energy centers, chakras, whichever way you want to refer to them. The sense of fear, um, worthiness, safety. They are all found in our lower, like anchored centers, and I feel like we experience a loss of all the material things, of all the external things, in order for this remembrance to come in. So I wanted to just share this video to offer hope and inspiration, because that was me at one point. I was like, I felt cursed. I was like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And I finally came to the realization of the reasoning why. Right. So you maybe experienced I don't know, people coming into your life feeling like abandoned, feeling hurt, um, loss of anything. And I feel like whenever this happens, it's because we are being pointed back into ourselves, to reacquaint ourselves with ourselves, to that anchor that we carry within, to re-anchor ourselves. All the foundations, I guess the foundations that have been set on sand, okay? Imagine trying to set foundations on sand, and there's something comes along and just wipes it away. And there we are, we find ourselves being taken away, right? Um, all those things are stripped away by this process in order for The original foundation did reset. Now I hold space for people in circles, Kundalini experiences. I have been in many circles, and I am very familiar with when loss happens. Even the loss of inspiration, jobs that I once had, no inspiration at all. There's nothing. It's almost as if a void state is like a factory reset. It's probably a good way of putting it. Factory reset. Even though the word factory doesn't sound, it sounds mechanical, but it's like, for me, factory meaning the original state, right? How can I create a new? How can I create? How can I start creating a new for myself if I'm not wiped? If the slate is not wiped clean? And now I've come to the realization that that's this process. It cleans everything. It strips everything away. And you can debate whether it served us or not. Right? Sometimes we feel like, oh, yeah, this is something that I really enjoyed. Did it really serve me? And I do believe that a big part of this process is a transition as well from doing to being. I would always ask myself, are we really human beings? Are we really human beings, or are we just doing? And doing meaning that when I mention doing for me comes from a place where we're just regurgitating old conditioning, right? Things that have been passed down from the people who have come before us, reactivities that are being developed through trauma and difficult situations in our life, as opposed to being as opposed to being, which comes from a place where that I don't know. I guess it comes from a place of higher consciousness where one surrenders all the conditioning and starts to observe, and then surrenders that, or starts to observe all the stuff that we've been trapped in, the loops, and surrenders that to essentially be inspired by something beyond us. And it's not even beyond us, it's actually always been forever present. We just haven't had the capacity to tap into it because we've been lost in doing, regurgitating, lost in conditioning. So this process then comes along and starts to wipe the slate, right? People come into our lives, we might feel ostracized for speaking our truth. We may feel, I don't know, abandonment, feeling like rejection, not understood. And I feel like all these things happen, right? I feel like all these things happen because they force us to come back to ourselves. They force us to come back to ourselves. But then again, I feel like there's only God here, God playing all the parts, right? So even in those people or situations or circumstances that have played the part, that you have been felt to be rejected. It's all happened for good reason, in order to bring one back to themselves, back to refamiliarize themselves with that anchor that we have within. I feel like the only soulmate, if I was going to talk about relationships, that the only soulmate for one, for me, is that there's no one else that can complete me. There's nothing out there. I must come full circle within. So everything, all the situations, all the circumstances that are happening are forcing me to come back within. That's probably why we might go into hermit mode sometimes, right? Where we're kind of like forced to come into our silence, forced to come into hermit mode, and or a void state, or we don't have, or there could be a lot of lethargy, there could be a lot of purging going on, a lot of tiredness, right? And this is just a lot of that baggage that's been stuffed down, is being discarded, purged, and we need to rest. A good part of this process is basically being okay with resting, right? From a transition from doing to being, where we're doing, we just need to keep moving and keep moving. We're running on these old programs, and in comes this process and says, stop, slow down, trust, Trust that you're taken care of. And here I am wanting to move and wanting to go. No, my love, right? No, my love. Stop, slow down, trust, come back to me. Use this time, use this hermit state, void state to just sit with me, to be with me, and to trust. So I just felt like sharing this video to give some hope and inspiration as to um, why this process, why this process is like shaking. Can you feel like a lot of shaking and agitation? That's my process. It feels like I'm being agitated, like my nervous system is being like expanded. And a vision came to me. For example, do you know when concrete is poured, when they're setting the foundations on a building, and they've set the wires and all that sort of thing, and they pour the concrete, and then they have these things called agitators, right? That they agitate the concrete so the concrete can find its way into every cell, so there can be no pockets of air, so that structure becomes really solid and strong. Well, that's something that came up for me. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm being agitated, but this agitation is agitating and ramping up my emotions and feelings in order to reset, in order for me to really pay attention within and to breathe and to ground, right? And so then when once those foundations are firmly set and things do come, we are no longer shaken. Well, this has been my experience at least. No longer shaken to the core, right? Almost like a lighthouse. Imagine a lighthouse. Its foundations in the middle of the ocean and the stormy like ocean, and it's just like there is that lighthouse, unmovable, right? Unmovable, where the storm is just crashing up against it. And I feel like that's a representation of this process, um, of where one can essentially become unmoved. And now, when I say unmoved, I'm not saying that we become immune to any emotion, right? We don't become immune or things don't happen, because things do happen, but it's just the way that we allow and feel and open up to, and then more importantly, we transmute, almost like alchemy, right? So we can still feel everything, but we don't get lost in it. And that's been my case. Right? And again, something that just popped up for me too is like we carry a lot of feelings of guilt and worthiness, right? When I lost a home, I lost my previous life. For example, now I find myself in a share home, and here I am. I'm saying a 50-year-old. I know that I'm not my age, um, but here I am, a man, and in this, find myself in certain living conditions, and these living conditions are bringing up everything, right? Everything in consciousness to do with having missed the boat, having failed, my worthiness, how I'm seen in the world, right? So we are stripped away and are made to feel everything and to release it. Because here we are in this world, and we create our sense of our identity based on what we have, and our status and our work status and what we are. And along comes this process and strips it all away, right? Because we don't place our values and sense of worth on things, on our business cards, right? It's on what is unseen within and how we carry ourselves in this world. So, and then as consciousness, we can recreate those things. But in order to recreate, we must be first stripped away. And then in that sense of safety, this vessel, this nervous system starts to recalibrate, and then we can create and co-create things with source. And more importantly, create things, because if things are being stripped away, we're no longer putting so much, I don't know, of our importance on things. I feel like more importantly, we can create the beautiful things like community, right? Sense of community, love, trust, being in this world. There's a saying, to be in this world but not of it. And that's what I feel like it is. This process like invites us to be in this world, fully trusting, fully being, almost like allowing the wind to just take us. That's something that I've been putting to the test, something that I've been practicing. Like when I wash out, you have me do today, source, right? And then all of a sudden I'll get a little ping and I'll go to a certain place and I'll realize why I went there. Because I was either delivered a message or I delivered a message to someone. And seeing the interconnectedness of everything, right? So I'm just sharing this to invite you to just let go and surrender. I know, and I've heard this so many times, and I used to want to punch the screen when people would say this. But yeah, I just want to share and inspire that that's this process, and it's scary because it's something that we don't know how to take a step in the abyss, how to place a foot in the abyss, knowing that I'm going to be taken care of. Right? It's yeah, like stepping off a cliff, going, okay, God, source, are you going to catch me? And I feel like this is what this process is, to be in this world, um, and to abide in this world like that, knowing that we're taken care of, knowing that we are, form, God in form, being tapped on the shoulder. Right? I don't like to use the word chosen ones because it creates this ideas of superiority. It's like if one's being tapped on the shoulder, it's my time. This process is happening. One's coming into authenticity. One's coming into speaking their truth. One's mirroring. One's triggering others, being triggered likewise. So this coming back to the importance of, yes, source. It's tapped one on the shoulder and said, okay, it's your time. It's your time, old soul. It's your time, old soul. You're coming to an era of completion. You've taken on many forms on this trip, coming back full circle, and now find yourself coming back to yourself. And this process awakens for your next step into the next expression. But the importance is to really feel. The feeling is the portal, and to really extract all the feelings of all those I don't know, thoughts and conditioning around like worthiness, guilt, all the baggage. But the way that this process does that is by stripping things away. Yep. But then we can start to recreate, and then beautiful things start turning up. Beautiful people who can meet you on that level, on that new level, on that depth, connections. Because, well, that's been my case. People who understand, people that can hold you, people who have great capacity to listen, community, circumstances will start to happen. Because one has allowed, relinquished that conditioned mind, the one that just caught in loops, and just released it and allowed for guidance to come from a new perspective, from that higher perspective, from source. And then one is in this world led by that intuition, the inner teacher. So anyway, I think I'll finish it here, and just yeah, just wanted to share this, and don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me. I'll put my details on this share on YouTube. You can either email me or you can join the group based in Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, if this resonates with you, reach out. Let me know what's going on for you, what's present for you at the moment, and yeah, just let you know that we're all in this together. And don't hesitate to reach out, ask questions. I do offer one-on-ones as well. If you feel guided, if you feel the need, yeah, reach out. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Yeah, all the best. Have a lovely day. Take it easy.